Hello guys, and welcome to a new Wargame video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you a 3 versus 3 on Bloody Ridge, and this was an incredibly intense game. Really fun one. It's been a while since I actually played it before I decided to record it, but either way I remember it being extremely fun to play, and there was just so many different units that, I mean, some of them you see quite a lot, but a lot of them we don't. And that's because of our interesting deck. So I'll just go through the teams first. Over on the red side, we had myself, Val and Haymaker. And over on the blue side, it was Faust, Betts and Basler Beppi. And Basler was a random who filled basically an extra spot because it was a 3v2. So we've decided to get a random in to fill the extra spot. And that does leave Faust and Betts at a little bit of a disadvantage, or quite a bit of a disadvantage really, because they were only 2 persons on comm, whereas myself, Val and Haymaker were on comms together as 3. Now, the other thing is our decks. This is what made the game really interesting, I think, is that we have a lot of the new units coming out. So Val's going to be sporting a Red Dragon armored deck, which is cool, but myself and Haymaker are going to be using the exact same Entente decks, so that's really nice to see. And then over on the other side, we've got Betts playing an Israeli deck, which is super cool, and then Basler and Faust were playing Scandinavian decks, which is also very awesome. So a lot of really strong infantry going to be on the field today in this one, and there was quite a lot of back and forth really in terms of positional play, which was really nice to see and really fun to play. So let's have a quick look at some of these units coming out as the deployment does continue. We're going to be starting with Moderna. We've got a Spatbov in there. There's an OT Tab 71s. Those have Padabrancy. And then we've got the OT M60PBs, which will have the Proletari. We do have an MI17 here and a Hera 2 that's got a recon squad. In the centre, Val's going to be getting his T90s in the dirt, and he's going to be supporting those with the ZTQ62G, which is the really nice recon tank. Did get nerfed quite a while back, but still pretty decent. Then he's got some Hwasong Chongs, which are the infrared AA infantry carriers with some infantry in those. And he's got a couple of PGZ88s as well, which are some pretty, you know, standard AAA really. They're not amazing, but they're all right. Good against helicopters really. And over on this side, a couple more PGZ88s. Also, the other thing that the PGZs are really good for actually is the stunning aircraft. So that's another thing they're good for. But over on this right side, you can see Haymaker's going to be using a Noah, which is really cool. And he's got a couple of past Pragas, and you'll see me use more of those towards the middle of the game. But he's also got some OT64Cs with the recon infantry. He's got some OT60 or OTM60Ps with HGMs as well. Because Haymaker's going to be going to the right to golf, Val's going to be going to the middle, Hotel and Foxtrot, and I'm going to be going over to the left at India. And that's how we're going to spread our team. And I'm just going to put it to my point of view, and we will see what happens from here on. So Haymaker's going to be starting the map with an L19. This is the strong air-to-air aircraft from Yugoslavia. Very cool looking aircraft, known as the Mini Rafale. My Hera's already making its way towards this town, just trying to get some recon information, see how far I can get this MI17 with the recon squad before I need to land it. That was the whole idea of that. I've also got these OT like Tab 71s, mainly because they're wheeled. So I wanted a couple of wheeled like motorized infantry units that could get into the town quickly whilst my mechanized units follow up. So you can see all the mechanized APCs here with the tracks. Those OTMs M60PBs actually have 2 recoilless rifles on them, which is really cool. They have a nice high fire rate. But here comes Faust with his very fast APCs. These are the XAs, and they're flooding the town with high quality infantry. So my Hera's got a bit far forwards, just trying to do a little bit of damage there with the rocket pods. Mi-17 is trying to do the same thing with its 122mm rockets. Brought in a MiG-19 912A with the 4 thermobaric napalm bombs. Mi-17 does go down, but a couple really nice bombs there directly onto the infantry must have done some damage, or at least I'm hoping so, as I do begin to bring the rest of my infantry in. So the M60PBs have arrived with those 4 recoilless rifles, and you can see they'll start to shred these FSK. And the FSK are really elite squads, but just in the face of those recoilless rifles, they just fall apart. And also they've got the Palabranzi there, we've got some Specialni Jodnocki, and we also have the Proletari, and we just tear apart their infantry squads, no problem. And the power of those Yugoslavian APCs is just something to behold. So I do bring in another napalm strike. Unfortunately, the plane does go down to an automatic, which is a pain in the arse caused by the Scandinavian deck. But there we go, more bombs coming in from the other side now. A couple 1,000kg bombs dropping in the middle of my infantry. Fortunately managed to dodge it with Padabranci, managing to keep them alive. M84AN over on this right side, my recon tank is providing really nice fire onto some of the approaching reinforcements. I also move forward this Spatbov to try and get some autocannon fire onto some of these infantry. I've got my Spatbovs moving up on this left side as well, and you can see they are doing a nice amount of damage with the help of the Moderna. And that's basically what I'm trying to do here. We've got the MiG-29 coming in with the 4 thermobaric bombs again, and that does land a quite nice strike onto the Dragoneers, managing to stun them, which gives my Padabranci free reign over the other Dragoneer squads. So I managed to focus them entirely with all of the Proletaries and so on. Unfortunately, my Spatbobs do go down because I do send them too far forwards. I probably mismicroed them and forgot to bring them back again, just sort of had them on an attack move order, and they got themselves killed. Over on this right side, just stopping the approach of some empty APCs by the looks of it. But the Moderna on this left side, it's kind of a bit out in the open on that left. Didn't want it to get like sniped by an ATGM plane, so I decided to start to bring it back, especially considering I haven't got many reinforcements reaching the town at the moment. I'm very much relying on the Proletari that are there, and also my Padabranci, which have been on 7 health for a very long time fighting these Dragoners. So over on this right side, Haymaker's done a great job positioning really far forwards from his objective at Gulf, and Val's managed to get a little contingent into Foxtrot, so that's helpful as well, because it means that we will eventually be able to secure our side of Foxtrot and contest that. So a Fighting Falcon coming in, those with the 2 1,000kg bombs, they are going to kill off my infantry eventually there. But now it's just my Proletary against the Dragoners, and after all the infantry that started in this game, that's all that's left. It's just me versus Faust Dragoners. Really cool start to the game there. We're losing so many infantry units. You can see this flanking position up here where Haymaker's pushed a little bit further up. It's really helping in the center. We've got the L-19 here from Haymaker, going to scare off some enemy aircraft. There's also a Noah here, which is about to get resupplied. That was also providing fire onto the enemy aircraft. So a little bit of silence all of a sudden. My Proletari, I'm not sure if they actually won out in these towns or whether I just didn't decide to search for them, but basically that can happen occasionally, where they could, for example, be in this compound and you're in this compound, but your infantry can't see each other, and nobody wants to move because they don't want to engage that fight again, especially considering we both had like no men left at all. So we're really waiting on our reinforcements, and I've got 4 more OT M60PBs on the way. Actually, let's make that 6, with more Proletari. And the reason I'm bringing these in is because they do have those 2 recoilless rifles, which are really good for countering Faust's elite infantry. Really cost effective for destroying those. And on this India side, I do want to just get positioning in this town. and that allows Val to push up in the center without having to worry about being flanked. And that's the whole idea of owning this town between Echo and India. That's the whole idea of it. It's just to get positioning over the center sector, which is the contested sector. So another fighting Falcon coming in with two 1,000 kilogram bombs, this time killing off the last two of my Proletariat squads. OT-60 PBs have joined in the fray though, and you can see those Dragoners take a lot of damage. My MiG-29 coming in with thermobaric napalm lands a lovely strike which kills off two of the squads. Su-7B coming in, didn't manage to get a shot onto the automatic, but coming around for another run. I'm hoping that it does so, and when it doesn't, it was time to evac it, but just as I was about to, the missile came down, the automatic was turned on, and I got the kill, which was really, really good actually. I think there was a little bit of miss micro there by Faust, letting that go down. And now my OT M60 PBs moving over to the left side. Just watch what happens to these Dragoners as they get into line of sight. So they're just sort of sneaking around these buildings at the moment. I really want them to engage the Dragoners. Here goes. Look at that. The machine gun's opening up. The Dragoners taking so much damage as the Proletariat hold them down. So now I don't want to lose these APCs. They're actually pretty valuable in the sense that they can do that much damage to enemy infantry squads. So I'm trying to hold them as best I can with my Proletariat to stop them pushing on my 60 PBs. A couple more fighting Falcons coming in. You'll see them a lot throughout this game, and that one there kills off a lot of Padabranci, brings them down to 1 health. My Proletariat took a lot of damage as well, but the Dragoners on the edge of the town here take another volley from the recoilless rifles, and I'm really starting to make ground now in that town. So in the centre, things getting a bit hairy for Val. He's going to have to use smoke to cover his T-90s as he moves up. Really wants to get positioning into Foxtrot and is basically relying on me to hold the flank on this side whilst he does that. So my Moderna moving over to the right side now. I spotted this STRV-121 and I'm going to try and counter that. A Kernus coming in. Really big bomb from the Kernus there. That's the Israeli bomber, laser guided bomb. Does a lot of damage. So I don't want to move too far forwards on my own, but Val's going to be helping me out with these Pachongs too. He brought them in Fasong Chungs. My M60 PBs on this right side going to get sniped out by the enemy tank, which reveals itself, and I take down to 1 health with the Moderna. That's kind of what I was waiting for. Just 1 damage short of destroying that 121, otherwise that would have been a really, really nice shot. And here I nearly get the Moderna side shot by an HGM, but fortunately just gets out of line of sight before that hits. So now it's time to clean out the rest of the infantry in this town, so just starting to move up the rest of my Proletariat. But I am against fullscreen Jaegers. They are of course elite infantry, and more bombs coming in again. Sorry I keep missing the aircraft, but they fly incredibly high, the fighting Falcons. They come in with those 1,000 kilogram bombs every second or so, and it's really, really irritating. Perra in the centre now, going to be attacking Haymaker's M84, and that's going to force back Val and Haymaker there. I think possibly Val lost one of his T90Ss as well. The infantry engagement continues on the left. I've got more reinforcements coming in, and guess what they're in? 60 PBs, because those recoilless rifles are just too good. And I also have a small amount of APCs charging into Echo to almost give me some pressure in that sector. And it's going to be doing a lot of damage there as they move through the tree line. So you can see they bump into some fullscreen Jaegers, but thanks to the machine guns and the recoilless rifles, they're no problem at all. So let's now get the T-72 into there and reinforce the town, and the town is mine. And that's exactly what I want throughout the rest of this game. I want to control this town for as long as I can, because as long as I do, we have pressure in the mid, which allows Haymaker and Val to continue pushing over there. Because if the enemy team tries to counter that, and I keep making ground on this side, they're going to lose Echo. So I'm currently drawing players into Echo, whilst we can push into Foxtrot. Over here, a Puff coming in. Not really using any radar AA on my side at the moment. Here go the Fighting Falcons. Coming in once again with their 1,000 kilogram bombs. Fortunately missing the majority of my infantry. But they did manage to take my 60 PBs down to 1 health each there. So I'm just relying really on Savas and Spatbovs. They are really the best combination if you don't want to go full radar. Because of course you can bring out the Noah, but it's likely to get targeted by Seed pretty quickly. And if you're not very good at microing radar like me, then you're in for a bad time. So a lot of points wasted if you lose that to a Seed aircraft and don't get an aircraft kill, basically. So my Moderna is going to be trying to take out as many APCs as he can. And a couple of infantry squads, FSK there, going to be engaging my Proletary. Now in the middle, Haymaker and Val starting to make a little bit of ground again. Move back up with the help of the smoke. They really need to get their hands on this left side forest there at the bottom of Foxtrot. MiG-29 coming in again to bomb this tree here. I've also got a couple of Su-7Bs flying overhead. Those are my Seed aircraft, just to try and take care of the automatics and long-range AA that Scandinavia has. But they do have the HEOS, which is like the really long-range Hawk Pip, which isn't radar, and it's really irritating to play against. But either way, wasn't so much of an issue in this game because I wasn't relying so heavily on aircraft. But another 2 1,000 kilogram bombs coming in, going to be landing on my Proletary 90, chunking them quite significantly, and that was a really nice hit once again. Those bombers are something you're going to have to get used to seeing, that's for sure. Got my Mi-17 coming in, finally going to secure India with that command infantry. And that's going to put us a +1 lead again to take us to 115 points. So we currently have the lead. You can see my Pass Praga here. Going to be catching out this infantry squad in the open. And the OT tab also doing so. Going to be finishing off that squad for me. Now the engagement is occurring again on this right side. The Panzer Scout 90 going to be hammered by the recoilless rifles of my 60 PBs in the tree line. Got a Pass Praga coming towards the centre. I believe that was just sort of reinforced up this road and then maybe got a little bit caught out. But my Su-7Bs again coming in. You may think that I'm actually evacing them quite early, but I don't want to fly too deep just in case they bring in enemy aircraft. Those Su-7Bs are like the only seed I have, and they aren't the best. So you don't want to put them in like precarious situations if you don't have to. You want to look after them. So I move forwards these Proletary. Just trying to take out these Volksjäger before moving them back. And thanks to my Pass Praga I can do just that, but unfortunately a couple of shots from tanks on the right side do manage to kill off the squads as they try and fall back. We also do lose the Pass Praga there. And now my T-72 is being hit by heavy artillery. So here comes the MiG-29 with 4 1,000 kilogram bombs. I also bring in the Su-7Bs just behind it to pick off any seed that was turned on. And that was a nice little combo there just to get rid of the last Volksjäger in the field and also an anti-air unit. So Super Galeb's coming in now to try and take out this 3D Baz, which is a really heavy Israeli tank, and they do manage to do so. And also the L-19 takes down that aircraft as well. So really nice job. Su-25 trying to get the shots onto the Pera, but unfortunately does go down. Was stunned. Now the Su-7B going to take a missile before being evac'd as well. I brought up some Conkers M's on this left side to try and provide some ATGM support from this town. And now this is where the fun begins. We now have Baslebepi over here. We also have Faust. And you'll see the Bets will also join them shortly. Another plane going down here. Not entirely sure what that was. Looks like a J7H. Was destroyed. So a nice napalm bombing strike on the backside of this forest is going to allow Haymaker to get his infantry forwards. I'm starting to engage Faust's infantry. He has a lot of fire support. He's got the APCs over here with the really nice 40mm auto cannons, going to be chunking my proletariat. He's also got the 2 Fighting Falcons coming again with the 2 1,000 kilogram bombs directly onto multiple squads of my infantry. Really nice bombing strike this time. Didn't really see those ones coming. I thought he was going to go for the proletariat, so I was preparing to move them back, and then the bombs actually went past them and hit my other infantry, which is really irritating. But here comes the Puff. But again, no anti-air. That is radar. And the Bov and the Sava shoot that down. So now I'm basically wanting to get as much more reinforcements in here as I can, because I'm going to be noting the large advancement of infantry again towards this town. Meanwhile, Haymaker and Val really making some good progress into Foxtrot, so I need to hold this town best I can so that they can't be flanked whilst that continues. And the whole idea is that we want to push into Foxtrot as deep as we can, get a command vehicle in there, and then hold that so that we can get a +1 lead. Currently we're 149 points ahead, but that is still on a knife edge really. More napalm bombs coming in. Faust tries to basically move them on top of my Padabranci to avoid them being hit by those bombs, which was a really smart move. But I moved my Padabranci away from that sector just as the bombs landed, so I didn't get affected by that. My Su-7Bs nearly get themselves caught out. Really nice strike there in the centre from an anti-air to take down another aircraft. But here come the Fighting Falcons once again. And here come the 4 1,000 kilogram bombs. He's going to sacrifice his Dragoneers and bomb straight on top of them to kill off my Padabranci, which is my elite infantry. And that was actually a really nice move, like trying to use cheap infantry to like bait my Padabranci to stay where they were, because I wouldn't expect him to bomb his own infantry, and then just let it happen and kill off my elite infantry. Really nice job there. So Padabranci here do have that Bombar missile, so they are currently firing at these M113Gs, and we're missing every shot, which is quite irritating. But again, we've made loads of ground now in the centre. Val doing a superb job with his heavy tanks, the T90S there. He's also got the ZSD90s to help him out, and also of course Haymaker with his infantry. So we've managed to capture Foxtrot. I'm bringing a massive airstrike in. Su-22 M4s now with the 1,000 kilogram bombs. Also got my Su-7Bs. Unfortunately, one of them does get damaged. Doesn't go down though, so I am going to still have him on the field for now. Got these Vidras now. I actually turn off the ATGM so that they engage the APCs with the autocannon, just so that I can save those ATGMs for heavier targets. 60 PB is going to be engaging some M113Gs, but to no avail. Fortunately, there is heavy tanks there, and another wonderful bombing strike comes in from the 2 Fighting Falcons and absolutely tears to pieces my infantry. So that wasn't very fun, but L19 going to come in and take down the WDNS. And here comes more of my infantry, but I've lost ground significantly in this town now, and this is a bit of an issue because I don't want to let Faust and the rest of his team flank into our ongoing advancement in the centre, which is giving us the +1 lead. If I completely break on this side and I lose India, that would be horrific. So basically, I'm going to start calling for support shortly to make sure that doesn't happen. So M41 there, really nice little recon tank that the Scandinavians can get access to. Looks like Faust was going to be making use of those, but here we go, Dragoners again, engaging my proletary. Padabranci going to come over and start ripping them to shreds. I've still got a reasonably good presence here. Still got about 80 men in the town. Got a couple of proletary which actually fell back. The idea was to replenish them, but I don't think I really got round to it. The Su-22 M4 coming in with the two 1,000 kilogram bombs again, and also the MiG-29. Going to try and take out those stormers, but they were jumped back by Faust, and this whole game was really just a matter of micromanagement in terms of all these bombs being thrown at each other. But my Padabranci and Proletari, they're getting absolutely destroyed. Didn't micro away from those, and that really cost me. It's very, very important to make sure that if bombs are flying towards your infantry units, that you are prepared to move them out of the way, because otherwise you see what just happened there, and that will happen to your own forces. So now the FSK moving over, they're going to be engaging my Vidras. The Proletary trying to pin them down, but not enough to stop them. The FSK just gets stunned too late, and that is a big issue. And now there is two squads of fullscreen 90 and Panzerskaite 90s. Puff does go down there, which is quite a nice kill. Another seed aircraft of the enemy team is destroyed. But you can see these Proletary down to 5 health now. I brought in my Su-22. That unfortunately does get shot down. My Su-7B did its best, but I think missed its missile. So that wasn't helpful. And now I'm basically losing all my infantry in the centre to infantry that's just way better than mine. The Volksgemjäger 90s just completely outshine anything that I had access to at this point. I think I'd already used up all my squads of Padabranci, and I'd also used up all of my squads of 60 PB APC carriers. The last of my infantry is coming in now. Okay, so yeah, I think these were the last of my 60 PBs that I'm just bringing in, and then I was pretty much out of infantry on this left side, and yeah, it wasn't very good. These Pez, the last infantryman standing in this town between India and Echo, not very good at all. And now the bombing strike's going to come in here. The two 1,000 kilogram bombs are going to take out my command infantry. The L-19 does shoot down the enemy aircraft, but I paid for that significantly, and I'm going to have to replace that command unit as quickly as possible. So I'm going to bring in a command jeep, as they are nice and fast and can get back into position really quickly. Also, I want something that's going to be able to dodge those bombs a bit better, because fighting Falcon's really causing me issues. Now, I could have invested in maybe some like long-range radar, but the issue with that is I just needed as much infantry as I could get to counter the Scandinavian infantry, because it's such high quality. Here you can see the Moderna really taking the fight to that infantry there. And here comes my reinforcements. Over in the centre over here at Foxtrot, Val now relying on T62Ds. Very interesting choice of unit. 25 points with 40% accuracy and 11 AP power. Not going to really stand up to a Macabre 3B, but nice cover for a Super Gleb to come in and take that out. That was a very nice strike there by Val. Actually, I think that must have been Haymaker actually with the Super Gleb. So yeah, really nice job. My second Su-7B finally gets shot down. And now Basler is flanking the town with these CV903ONs, which have 30mm Bushmaster autocannons, and they are ripping to shreds my APCs. The 60 PVs just don't stand a chance in this situation. I'm really going to rely on these Vidras Malyutkas to take those out. Meanwhile, my infantry is going to have to run to the town under the cover of napalm, and my tanks, because the 60 PBs pretty much all got destroyed, and that is not very good for my attack because I rely on them so heavily to take out the Scandinavian elite infantry. Managed to get my command vehicle back into the sector, which is going to put us back at a +1 lead. My T-72 did manage to get into position to be able to fire onto the fullscreen in the centre of the town, but just because those three squads sat there together, they are ripping my infantry apart. The Pez and the Proletariat 90 just not standing a chance. J7H comes in, both missiles hit the STRV 121, but the tank does not go down. I believe it was left on 1 health. Really unfortunate there from Val. And now you'll see that I'm bringing up T-72Ms. My Proletariat squads here, the 3 men left, they do manage to use their really nice AT weapon with 24 AP power, 50% accuracy to just wreck those 2 APCs that were moving into the back of the sector there. But I've started to bring in T-72Ms, and this is because they have 4 HE power and they can really do some serious damage to the infantry that's going to be coming towards me. So now he's basically got the town. I don't want to necessarily be investing in more infantry to push back towards that because he's got so many HGMs there. I'm just going to want to use tanks which can fire at a longer range than those HGMs that they have, and really try and take advantage of that if they try and actually take control of India. So I've left my team at a bit of a precarious situation because now the flank could occur into Foxtrot. But I think almost lucky for us, they thought that India was the right way to push. Hakamaker is providing me some nice recon over on the left side here. That Hera 2 going to be revealing the keys, and also is going to show me if anything's trying to sneak around. But now a little bit of a intermission again. It's quite funny how in Wargame you get these times where the entire map just goes quiet and it's just ridiculous. But then it soon starts up again as the Volkskrieger show themselves. They do take a big chunking from my tanks. And I've got a lot of fire support here now. Plenty of T-72s. I've still got my Moderna there. Unfortunately, a plane of ours is going to go down. We do have the supply to try and get some of these infantry squads back up to strength, and the tanks too. But if I move the tanks too close, of course they're going to get hit by the Volkskrieger, and that's exactly what happens to the T-72M as it tries to engage the STRV. Basically what happened there was because the T-72 was actually inefficient, it had to move closer to the STRV to start to do damage to it. Didn't notice it happening until it was too late. I've also brought in a Vihor now, pretty much for the same reason as the T-72M, except from the Vihor costs 170 points and is actually a force to be reckoned with, whereas the T-72Ms is 55 points, 4 HE power, just there to be the fire support, whereas the Vihor can actually do some serious damage. But again, we've still got a really nice position in the centre now. These recon tanks from Val showing us if anything's coming from Delta. Meanwhile, Haymaker's still been holding the top side. I don't think there's really been any skirmishing between Charlie and Golf. Haymaker's just been using this tree line up here to make sure that they don't get flanked. But now some more APCs moving towards me. We've got Faust with his own CV903ONs and his 121, really using good smoke micro there to make sure that that doesn't go down easily. And basically what he's doing is he's getting like a mortar unit or an artillery unit, and he's firing just random puffs of smoke, and then he'll drive his tank forwards and backwards to make sure that it doesn't get killed. Really effective way of microing tanks out in the open. So the Fighting Falcon once again coming in with two 1,000 kilogram bombs. Going to try and go for these Proletary 90, but completely misses this time round, which is good. And now the infantry going to start pushing forward. You can see the Stormer there charging. The STRV-121 is going to try and push into this tree line. He's got to be careful though. I do have 2 units of Proletary 90 here with those 24 AP power heat rockets. Does not want to be on the wrong end of those. So the Storm are going to get caught out in the open and really easily taken out by the Vihor shot there. Oh, here come Val's T-62Ds to the rescue. So I'm really under heavy pressure on this left side now. We have Faust trying to move forward as best he can with the 121s, with his elite infantry and all these APCs arriving. So Val's brought over some relieving T-62Ds, which are going to start firing on any infantry that are revealed on the right side of the town thanks to the Zanshi. But the Zanshi won't last very long either, because they're just going to get mowed down so quickly by the machine guns. I bring up this Hera 2, it uses some of its 70mm rockets on that infantry to help out, and now I'm moving forwards these Vidras along with Pez to try and make some ground into the town again. So you can see the Malyutka missiles flying everywhere trying to kill the enemy APCs, and that really was the plan at this point. Got my OT-64Cs with Conquer's M's coming up. Going to drop them off into the tree line here. Proletary 90 going to really start to kill off the rest of those APCs as the Stormers approach. Now these fullscreen are going to take a lot of damage from the T-62s and my Vidras. And the whole idea of this game really was just to hold India from now on. We've got the +1 lead in Foxtrot, and I just thought it was so cool to watch myself like take the town and then obviously run out of effective infantry and then be pushed back like by Faust's quality infantry. I just thought that was really cool, and then we really had to like fight tooth and nail to stop him from coming any further. You can see he is still making ground here. The Wildcat and the STRV-121 and the Stormers really trying to put the pain onto my Proletaries. I'm doing pretty much last-ditch effort with my aircraft. I do lose a MiG-29. The rest of my units do get out alive, fortunately. But still, it's not very nice having to deal with this much being thrown at you. Which is why I had to enlist the help of my allies, Haymaker and Val. The two Vihors here, the Vihor and the Moderna, they're going to be taking on the STRV-121. As a tag team, they do a lot of damage to infantry as well, especially with this T-72M supporting. I'm having a bit of an issue with this Wildcat. Fortunately, Haymaker's Vidras take care of that. I have my own Vidra hitting these Stormers really hard, which is nice. We have a Kafer C7 coming in with its 3,000 kilogram bombs. Absolutely wrecks the rest of my infantry on the left side of India. But fortunately, there isn't too much for Faust to be putting in there. And we're still holding the centre. So still a +1 lead. We're hitting 350 points over their none. So this has been an incredibly bloody battle so far. Like, I literally lost the majority of my infantry. I don't think I really had an infantry tab left at the end of this game. It was actually incredible. So I was basically relying solely on like T-72s and Passpragas. That was like my army at the end of this game, because the Scandinavian infantry just tore me to shreds. It was ridiculous how effective they were once they managed to get some ground, especially with the Eric's range, like the Volkskriegsjägers there with the Erics. Like the range from this sort of compound to the edge of this tree line is really nice. It's like almost perfect for those Eric squads. SU-22 coming in again. Unfortunately, the AA is very strong over on this left side, and you can see that I do unfortunately lose that aircraft. Fortunately, the Su-7B gets out alive. So now some more fire coming down from the ZSD-90s. This is just a APC with the autocannon firing into the Volkskamjägers, also being covered by the Moderna slightly. I found it quite interesting as well in this game how they did actually focus pushing past this town into India, because they could have very easily have like just kept infantry in this town, not tried to push any further into India, and then crushed down into Foxtrot as 3. That would have been a really, really effective tactic. These Vidras on the side of the hill there, they eventually get bombed trying to resupply out in the open. Not the best place to put them, but there we go. My Conkers M's trying to take down some of these APCs approaching. And I have brought up some more T-72Ms again. In the centre, Val's starting to make a push with some smoke support. Basically, what he's done here is he's smoked off the right side of the tanks so he can move forwards on the left. It's really clever. It's always great to see like good use of smoke. I really like it. I don't use it enough myself, honestly. But good players like Faust and Val, they know exactly how to use smoke. And here Faust tried to get his units into this little compound just here, but unfortunately our fire support is just too strong. Multiple T-72s, past Pragas and so on. Going to crush that infantry unit very quickly as it tries to move forwards. Val did manage to make some ground into Delta, which was interesting, but 3,000 kilogram bomb coming down on his head is going to do an absolute ton of damage to his infantry, which is going to make it pretty hard for him to advance through that tree line without having to worry about enemy infantry. Finally, we have a Plumman S coming in from Haymaker. He's going to be attacking this tree line. Going to kill off a couple of cargo units, as seen by the massive explosion. But yeah, we managed to hold on this left side, and as you can see at this point, it's pretty much guaranteed that we're going to win. We're at a +1 lead still. We're over 400 points. And our defence is still very strong in India. We have a lot of ATGMs, but with the T-72M2 Moderna's still alive, and I've got plenty of T-72Ms to deal with any APCs and any infantry that move out in the open. And the Macabre 2As here going to start getting hit by my Conkers M on this tree line. Also got the M84AN there as well. Now going to start resupplying with the FAPs as well. So yeah, we pretty much have this little charge at the end there with the TGVs and the Panzer T90, but honestly with Haymaker's amount of Pez here to defend with those M53 Saraks, it's no surprise that the Panzer T get mown down with the help of the T-72Ms and that 4 HE power. Now the 3,000 kilogram bomb coming in once again, going to absolutely wreck the infantry. That was a massive bombing strike on top of Haymaker's infantry. That was just pretty much disgusting. Val's going to be finishing off the game with a massive exchange of aircraft. Su-27SK actually going down in exchange for that enemy aircraft. Fabio coming over, but that is that. 40 minutes have passed, and well, with 424 conquest points on the board, myself, Val and Haymaker are victorious. So, there you have it. The 3v3 on Bloody Ridge. Really nice game, I think. You can see just how well Faust did with his Scandinavian deck. Unfortunately, the random didn't do very well. Baslebepi, but thanks for filling. But yeah, Faust, 4,456 kills to 3,860 losses. The majority of that is going to come from his basically his elite infantry just really outshining my own. You can see on my side of things, 3,058 kills to 3,720 losses. That's horrific. In the center, Val 4,108 kills to 3,180. Really nice armor push with the support of Haymaker, who also went positive. But for me, it was more positional play at the start that really mattered, making sure that I got control of that town so that they couldn't flank into the center. That was the main idea of my deck, or not my deck, but my strategy. Unfortunately, my deck actually let me down in the end because I didn't have enough elite infantry to fight off Fausts. But once there's enough time in the game, Faust's always going to get stronger because of the strong Scandinavian infantry and the fact that I'm very much reliant on bombers to kill those, and also my APCs. And as soon as the APCs are gone and he manages to get a strong AA network, it's going to be very, very hard for me to push back on that. But either way, thanks to my teammates, we managed to hold that sector strong as they do continue to push towards it, which I thought was a little bit interesting. You know, like, I'm not entirely sure why they didn't decide to go for the center push, maybe because they didn't have like strong enough tanks to deal with Val's armored deck. But either way, you can see a nice amount of kills there on the Vihor. A lot of fullscreen 90, really, really good kills. A few nice kills on the T-72Ms. You know, they were there for the support against the infantry, so that's quite nice. Then we have, I think, the Moderna. Yeah, look how many kills this Moderna got. It was alive for pretty much the whole game. Yeah, I think it might have been the whole game. But yeah, got a nice amount of kills there. Did a lot of damage as well, I expect. But either way, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. I know it was quite a long one. And at times, I know it was a bit stale in the sense that it was just an infantry versus infantry fight over the town. But I thought in general, like, the strategy that was implemented and the decks that were used were interesting enough for me to record this game. So hopefully you guys appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.